Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Kanak Saxena, Genetics and Plant Breeding Department, and today we are going to discuss about the mapping populations, quantitative trait loci, and QTL mapping. When we talk about the quantitative trait loci, we should know about what is quantitative trait and what is qualitative trait. So, plant characters are of two types: qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative traits are those characters which are governed by the oligogenes. Oligogenes means one or few genes. These are the measured genes and measured by visual observation like color, shape, and surface of plant parts. Quantitative characters are those characters which are governed by polygenes. Polygenes means several genes. The word poly means several genes. And these are the minor genes, several minor genes. Okay. And measured in terms of height, weight, width, length, duration, etc. So, under the quantitative trait, plant height, plant yield, oil content, protein content, these characters are included. Now, this is the tabular form of difference between the qualitative and quantitative traits. When we are talking about the gene involved in qualitative traits are one of you, we call it oligogene, and quantitative traits gene governed by the polygenes, several genes. Okay, and the effect of individual gene in qualitative traits is large and detectable because there are some gene, only one gene or two genes, so easy to detect. But in quantitative traits, there are so many small and several genes are there, so effects are quite undetectable. The variation occur in qualitative traits are discontinuous, while in quantitative trait variation is continuous variation. Grouping into the distinct classes is quite possible in qualitative traits, while it is not possible in quantitative traits. And qualitative traits are little affected by the environment, while quantitative traits are highly affected by environment. Qualitative traits are highly stable compared to the quantitative traits, they are low to medium type. Now let's come to the point, what is QTL? QTL is quantitative trait loci. Quantitative, the character which are governed by polygenes. Okay. And locus means region or position. Suppose there is a chromosome and this is the region having gene which control or responsible for some phenotype. Suppose wilt resistant. This gene is responsible for wilt resistant. Now here is a marker which is tightly linked with this gene. That's why we also called it gene tag. The marker is tightly linked with this region. Such marker does not affect the phenotype of the trait. Okay, because they are located only near or linked to the gene that control the character. So marker just act as a flag or tags with the target gene. So let's sum up what is QTL. QTL is a chromosome region linked to or associated with a marker which affects a quantitative trait, is known as quantitative trait loci. And term QTL was given by Gelderman in 1975. This is very important questions asked in many interviews or exams. Now let's come to the objective of QTL analysis. Why it is important? Why we are doing QTL analysis? To identify the region of the genome that contain QTL, and with the help of QTL analysis we also estimate the effect of the QTL on the quantitative trait. To use the QTL estimates and genetic information to assign the breeding value to the line. Breeding value क्या होता था? Deviation to the population mean. So with the help of QTL analysis, we identify the regions of the genome that affect the trait of interest and analyze the effect of QTL on that trait. How much variation of for the trait is caused by specific region. Now, what is the gene action associated with the QTL? Either it is additive effect or dominant effect. Which type of allele is associated with the favorable effect. These all are the informations that we can get with the help of QTL analysis. Now, what are the essential requirements for the QTL mapping? First of all, sophisticated lab. Second is trained manpower. Third is mapping population, molecular markers, and mapping techniques. These are the essential requirements for QTL mapping. Next, the mapping population. Mapping population are the essential or primary requisite for QTL analysis. Mapping populations are the segregating population which are derived from a cross between two diverse parents differing for the character of interest. Suppose there is a parent which is resistant and we should take the another parent should be susceptible one. Contrasting characters or parents differing for the character of interest. Now, various breeding material are used for the QTL mapping. Which type of breeding material? F2 and F2 derived populations, recombinant inbred lines, backcross populations, near isogenic lines, double haploids. These are the population which are used for the used as a mapping populations. Now let's explain the each mapping population, their merits and demerits. First is F2 population. F2 population are produced by crossing two parents. F1 we get F1 and on selfing F1 we get the F2 populations. These are the produced or generated by crossing the selected parents. F2 individuals are the product of single meiotic cycle. Merits are this is the best population for primary mapping. It requires less time for the development and can be developed with minimum effort when compared with the other populations. Take more seasons or more time. Demerit is linkage established using the F2 population is based on one cycle of meiosis, so not that much authentic. And the quantitative trait cannot be precisely mapped as each individual is genetically different and cannot be evaluated in replicated trials over the locations and years. Let's come to the F2 derived F3 populations. So this type of population can be obtained by selfing the F2 populations. P1, P2 we get F1, on selfing F1 we get F2, on selfing F2 we get the F2 derived F3 population, and it can be used for mapping the fine QTL mapping. Now next is recombinant inbred lines. These are the lines developed by crossing P1, P2 we get F1 population, on selfing F1 population we get F2 population, and in F2 population by using the SSD method the continuous selfing until the complete homozygosity is achieved. We have to selfing and lastly we get the RIL lines, recombinant inbred lines. The most important point is we use SSD method in developing the RIL lines. Merit is once homozygosity is achieved, RIL can be propagated without further segregation. They can be replicated over the environment and locations. They can be produced due to several cycles of meiosis, very useful in identifying the tightly linked markers. Since they can be replicated over the environments and locations, this type of population we called it permanent populations because completely homozygosity is achieved. Permanent populations or eternal populations or immortal populations. Now, what is the demerit? It requires many seasons, generations to develop. Developing RIL is relatively difficult in crops where problem of high inbreeding depression occur. Next is backcross populations. Backcross populations are generated by crossing P1 and P2. We get F1. When F1 is crossed with either of the parents or recurrent parent, suppose F1 into P2, and usually we took the recurrent parent which is recessive type. Okay, just like test cross, and with this F1 we get VC1 F1 generation, and on selfing this we next add BC1 F2 generation. And how we get the backcross populations. The merits are they require less time to develop and population can be further utilized for marker assisted selection in backcross breeding. Next is near isogenic lines. Nil lines are generated by the repeated backcrossing of F1 with recurrent parent. F1, suppose this is recurrent parent and this is non-recurrent parent, so repeated crossing with a recurrent parent when we get the backcross populations. The nil lines are similar to the recurrent parent but differ only for the gene of interest. Only one gene difference is occur in nil lines. Merit are they are suitable for tagging the trait of interest because there is only one gene difference, so easy to detect. And they are very useful for the functional genomics. Demerits, they require many generation for the development because the nil lines are developed after 6 to 7 generations or up to 8 generations. So we get the nil lines having one gene difference with the recurrent parent. They are directly useful for the molecular tagging of the gene but not for the linkage mapping. Now this is the most important mapping population. This can be developed by uh, chromosome doubling of F1 haploid plants. We get the double haploids. Okay, F1 haploid plants. Double haploids are the product of one meiotic cycle and hence comparable to F2 in terms of recombination information. Double haploids are the permanent mapping population and hence can be replicated and evaluated over locations and years and maintained without any genotypic change. They are useful in mapping both qualitative and quantitative characters. Demerits are the recombination from male side alone is accounted because there is a haploid plant. We are doing the doubling of the chromosome. More skills is required as it is an in vitro technique, tissue culture technique, and thorough microspore culture derive the haploid plants. Right, haploid production method are not available for many crops, so it is quite difficult. Now, double why it is very important mapping population because double haploid population and lines, these two mapping populations are permanent mapping populations. They can be replicated and evaluated over the different locations on several years and maintained without any change. Okay, so these two lines, these are very important, asking many questions or MCQs and interviews which type of mapping populations are permanent mapping population and why they are permanent. And that's why these permanent populations are also called as eternal populations or immortal populations. So thank you so much. In next video lecture we are talking about the different detection methods of QTL mapping.